Well, a beautiful Wednesday it is. Hello and welcome to Breaking Today. My name is Nick Mudimba. Our Western language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. Let's now look at the headlines we have for you tonight. Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko suspends 16 county officials following the recent tragedy at Precious Talent Academy that killed 8 pupils. Kenya is open and more than ready for U.S. investments, President Uhuru Kenyatta assures American investors in New York City. Thomas Cook collapse. British government comes to the aid of stranded passengers in Spain. In sports, Harambee Starlets get set for Olympic qualifier against Ghana. Well, the Ministry of Energy plans to wean off the country of expensive thermal sources of energy, starting with IBA Africa's 56 megawatts plant, which was plugged off at the end of last month. This is according to Energy CS Charles Keter, who notes that in a few weeks' time, his ministry will commission actually 165 megawatts will carry a V plant as part of the generation plans to plug in any gaps arising from retiring thermal plants, with the ultimate goal of reducing cost of power.
The government plans to decommission 3 thermal plants over the next 5 years as it moves to inject more renewable energy into the national grid. According to Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter, Kenya is in a few weeks from now expected to increase the amount of power from geothermal sources to 1,000 megawatts, pushing the country to the 7th position as the largest producer of geothermal. This follows the imminent commissioning of 165 megawatts of Carrier 5.
KenGen will be about 800. We have the ORPA, which is about 150 megawatts, so it comes to slightly below 1,000 megawatts. Hence, making geothermal to be a base load. We have been over-relying on hydros, and as you are aware, our eastern hydros currently, there is no rain around Abadeas, so.
Keter was also adamant that no power purchasing agreement by any thermal plant will be renewed as the government targets to push electricity generation to only renewable sources.
And that calls for the board and the staff to really work hard. I mean, we have gone beyond the regulatory authorities. You are the people who will set guidelines, who will drive the energy sector. Therefore, by doing that, you are going to drive the economy of this country.
Keter was speaking during the rebranding launch of the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the successor of the Energy Regulatory Commission, which reaffirms the authority's commitment to ensuring quality regulation that conforms to acceptable international standards, as well as enabling unlocking of growth opportunities in the sector.
We also have other power plants which are cheaper. There are small power plants which are coming in, the solar and some Kibeto wind, which will come and occupy the space of the thermal power plant.
In addition, the authority will now regulate and supervise upstream petroleum operations. The authority will also regulate the exploration, production, processing, transportation, storage, importation and sale of coal-bed methane gas and other forms of energy. Jockey Merita, Switch TV.
Well, it's now emerging that contracts signed by both the government and oil mining companies in Turkana County might have been faulty, with the companies said to be exploiting the deal to their advantage. This is according to a report commissioned by Oxfam International, which notes that there's a need to maximize revenues for both the county and national governments in order to realize value for money in the project.
Last month, Kenya joined the League of Oil Exporters in the world after exporting its inaugural shipment of crude of more than 200,000 barrels. This is after oil deposits were discovered in Lokichar, Turkana in 2012 by Italo Oil. With the company projecting over 4 billion barrels of crude oil reserves, it is however emerging that all may not be well, with a new report released by Oxfam International indicating that most companies involved in the mining are evading their tax obligations, and the government may be losing revenues in the process.
And so the report was highlighting some of the key challenges that we have in this audit. Do we have the capacity as government to audit this oil projects? Who has the sole responsibility to audit these key projects? Who in government is responsible? Which government institutions have they been doing the audit? The report established that the cost audit was first undertaken by the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining just last year in 2018. Talos started exploration for this project way back in 2008. What happens to those costs? So that is a key question that we need to ask. And if we're talking about revenues, are we looking at the costs?
The audit report also questioned how the contracts were signed by the government and the mining companies with fear of loopholes that the companies are exploiting to their advantage.
The previous regime of actually using volume as a basis to determine profitability was more aggressive. And this, when you look at profitability, is actually you're actually taxing, or you're actually looking at actually profit. You're trying to make everyone equitable. You're trying to get government benefit accordingly and also the IOC benefit accordingly. So when you look at profits, you're actually taxing the profits and you're sharing the actual profits. And looking at Kenya, we are trying to get investors into the country. And so the way you actually determine how revenue is going to be shared, it's going to be important to attract investors.
Tarus further notes that the Kenyan government ought to have conducted a petroleum cost auditing from onset of all oil projects to secure oil revenue. She further insists that the capital and operating costs for the development of oil projects can make up to 45% of oil revenue profit by both the national and the source county government. Wandabo Wanyama, Switch TV.
News that has just transpired this afternoon. Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i has revoked all extra number plates from the parastatal vehicles, saying that many accidents done by the vehicles are not recorded accurately. This Matiang'i actually said as just some of the measures set aside by the National Transportation Safety Authority to curb the high rates of accidents on Kenyan roads. This follows a survey conducted by NTSA, which noted that many accidents are being caused by parastatal vehicles who are in possession of more than one number plate. Now, we'll bring you more of this information in our subsequent bulletins. Now, moving on, Kenya is open and more than ready for United States investments. This was the President Uhuru's words, of course, to top American executives in New York at the ongoing UN General Assembly in New York. Now, according to President, the Kenyan economy is robust, with the U.S. investors urged to make the investment destination of choice in Africa.
Speaking at the ongoing United Nations General Assembly conference in the New York City, President Uhuru Kenyatta assured the state's investors that the manufacturing component of the Jubilee's Big Four agenda will immensely contribute to the country's economy from the current 8.4% GDP to 15% by 2022, with an aim of limitless investment opportunities for U.S. companies.
Our target is that within the next 2 years, we should be at least in the top 30 countries in the world in terms of doing business. So the promises that we made in terms of reforming our environment were not just mere promises. We have actually executed a good number of them.
Kenyatta added that Kenya is already seeking sustainable business partnerships with American corporations, targeting some of the leading U.S. multinational businesses.
I want to partner with you to create an environment where your business succeeds, and as your business succeeds, you help us create opportunities for our young people.
Among the sectors expected to boost the economy are food and nutrition security, affordable housing, universal health coverage, among others. As he urged American companies to channel their resources into his Big Four agenda, Uhuru also mentioned the importance of his administration constructing the 500,000 affordable housing units.
We want to focus on ensuring that we are able to provide adequate health, adequate affordable housing for those who can't afford.
On universal health coverage, the president called for partnerships, especially in the supply of specialized medical equipment, establishment of pharmaceutical companies, upgrading and management of health facilities, and implementation of innovative health financing options. Apart from the four key areas, the president also invited the investors to explore opportunities in IT, infrastructure, tourism, and the blue economy. The head of state listed the Mombasa-Nairobi-Naivasha standard gauge railway line and the new Lamu port as some of the mega infrastructural projects implemented by his administration to enhance business environment in the East African nation. Safi Godanamamo, Switch TV.
The country has been experiencing a biting drought for a while now that has hit many counties, among them Taita Taveta, with residents here actually now facing starvation. Salilimo with more.
Many residents from Kirumbi, Gimba, Mbololo, Bura, Kishushe and other villages in Taita Taveta County are the worst hit by the biting drought in Taita Taveta County and are in dire need of food and water. This is after the expected rains failed, leading to hopelessness and desperation among residents here who rely mainly on cereals as their staple food.
Kitu imetukumba sana ni njaa, sababu msimu wetu ambao unakuanga wa chakula tupate ni huu wa msimu huu tunayetengeneza mashamba sahihi. Msimu huu mdogo sengine unapata, sengine unakosa.
The farming seasons have been unpredictable and vary in the region, which has made the farmers unable to plan accordingly and know when their next harvest will be. The poverty levels keep rising since most of them depend on farming as a source of livelihood. Despite the farming challenges they go through that include failed crops.
Shughuli ambazo huwa nategemea sana sana ni mambo na shamba. Na kwa wakati uliopita tulipopanda mbegu, tulipanda kunde, mahindi, pojo, lakini hatukufaidika na hizo vitu ambazo tulikuwa tumeweka kwa mchanga.
Despite toiling so hard on their shambas, most of these residents can only afford a meal a day.
Umepata uko na watoto 5, umepata kilo 3. Inastahili sasa, kwa vile sahii tumejebika kwamba sahii watoto wanakulia wapi? Shuleni. Mimi na dada inabidi tupike rangi yetu ili kusudi jioni watoto wakija wapate chakula.
The narrative is the same for Alice Malemba, whose last big harvest was in 2008.
Mwaka wa 2008 ndipo tulipata mahindi. Lakini mwaka huu hatujapata mahindi hata kidogo. Tunasumbuka. Maji yenyewe ni ya shida. Kila kitu ni cha kununua. Hatuna chochote.
In a bid to mitigate the effects of the failed rains, the meteorological department in the county is calling on farmers to plant more drought-resistant crops.
Itanyesha kwa majuma 7 peke yake, na kwa sababu ya hiyo tunaweza kuambia wakulima wetu hapa Taita Taveta ya kwamba wapande mimea ambayo hazihitaji mvua nyingi sana.
In spite of the dire situation, farmers are, however, ongoing with farming preparations and hoping that the rains will soon come. Salilimo, Switch TV.
All right, we're now taking a short break right here on Breaking Today. When you come back now, I'll be looking at what's happening with Thomas Cook. It's going down in a very detrimental way, and of course, business and sports. Stay tuned to Switch TV. Welcome back to Breaking Today. Now, Tech Educators Forum 2019, spearheaded by Moringa School in partnership with Strathmore University, kicked off today with the aim of providing a platform to discuss challenges faced in teaching technology. Take a look.
Speaking during the Tech Educators Forum 2019, Technical and Vocational Education and Training (TVET) Director Dr. Kipkurui Langat noted that ICT provides an important media of training and should therefore be incorporated in all training programs. The pressure of technological progress and modernization occasioned by drastic changes in technology has to this end brought about a need to improve access to higher education and training, hence the need to integrate ICT.
The technological evolution, right from the first industrial revolution to the current fourth industrial revolution, and the fifth, which is not much mentioned, though it is already being implemented. rely and heavily drive on ICT.
It also emerged that it's imperative that students be equipped with the technological skills that will boost their employability.
How are we able to drive how the students, the lecturers, and essentially the whole education stakeholder ecosystem?
In order to achieve the full benefit of ICT in higher education and training, there is need to increase investment in ICT infrastructure and integrate ICT in all aspects of education and training.
Hussein Ahmed, Switch TV.
Well, the Dagoretti South Member of Parliament John Kiarie has called on leaders to stop taking advantage of the Precious Talent School tragedy that occurred on Monday and instead urged for leaders to speak with one voice. Take a look.
Na mimi nataka niwajulishe katika area hii ya Gando, hata kama mjumbe yoyote angeamua kutumia pesa ya CDF kununua ardhi ya kujenga shule ya umma hapa, kwa population ambayo tuko nayo, unahitaji uwe na eka takriban eka 5 za kuanzisha shule. Chairman wa Landowners Bwana Maina yuko hapa na atakuambia kwamba ploti ndani ya Gando sahi, ploti ni shilingi milioni 40. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ploti utahitaji ushikanishe ploti 8 ili uweze kupata eka 5 ya kujenga shule. Hata ukatumia CDF yote ya mwaka mzima ya Dagoretti kununua shamba ya shule peke yake, development budget ya CDF ya mwaka moja ni 40 million. Itakuchukua takriban miaka 20 ama 24 kununua eka 5 ili uweze kujenga pale ploti ya shule.
Well, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko on Wednesday cracked the whip and suspended 16 county officials following the recent tragedy at Precious Talent Academy that killed 8 people and left 64 other kids nursing injuries. Through a statement, Sonko suspended the officials to pave way for what he terms as impartial investigations. But the question that still begs is, does Sonko's often actually suspensions and sackings bear fruits? And how will the planning department operate, bearing in mind nearly the entire planning directors and their assistants have been sent home? Kevin Sayer with the report.
The suspended county officials are Charles Kerich, the current County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning, who is the immediate former CC for Lands and Urban Planning, as well as Mohamed Dagane, CC for Health, who is also responsible for General Public Health and Safety. Others who were suspended following the tragic at Precious Talent Academy incidents are Justus Kathenge, County Chief Officer for Urban Planning, who was in a previous suspension, Jasper Ndege, Director Planning Compliance and Enforcement, Dominic Mutengi, Development Management Director, Frederick Ochanda Ondari, Assistant Director Enforcement, and Ruth Waruguru, Director Urban Planning. Also sent home by Sonko over the allegations of negligence that led to the killing of 8 pupils at Ngando area are Thomas Dudi, Assistant Director Planning, Simon Onyango, Development Officer who is responsible for the approval of architectural plans, Alex Musheru, Development Control, whose work is overseeing approval of buildings and school on behalf of the public health and safety, Macklin Saitera, Development Control, and Edina Guitai, in charge of approval of public buildings and schools on behalf of public health. Others who could not survive the axe are Joyce Kiego, Dagoretti South Sub-County Administrator, Lucy Wairimu, Dagoretti South Sub-County Commander, Sylvia Mwikali, Dagoretti South County Planning Officer, and Kennedy Okal, Ngando Ward Administrator. To ensure there is no vacuum in his cabinet, Sonko has appointed Pauline Kahiga as the acting CC for Finance and Economic Planning and Veska Kangogo as the acting CC for Health. He said the two will ensure that there is no minimal disruption of service at City Hall and at the same time assure the suspension of 16 officials in the planning departments of Nairobi City County will not affect service delivery. Sonko says his drastic measures will reverse the effects of years of flouting of physical planning regulations and restore order and sanity before illegal structure claim more life as repeatedly happened before. Kevin Sewe, Switch TV.
Well, across the borders now, there was relief and confusion among its Thomas Cook passengers as more boarded flights home on Tuesday as repatriation efforts continued, with governments trying to organize flights for passengers stranded at Mallorca's Palma Airport in Spain. The company was unable to secure the extra $200 million needed to keep the business afloat following a full day of crucial talks with the major shareholders and creditors on Sunday, leaving thousands of travel plans in chaos. Thomas Cook employs 21,000 people worldwide, with 9,000 of those in the UK, but the company's employees working at the Spanish headquarters in Mallorca have so far continued business as usual despite the collapse.
For 2.5 hours waiting in the queue because after the failure of Thomas Cook, they told us that we were going to be able to get a flight to Manchester instead of to London. And so we got here, and after waiting for 2.5 hours, they told us that we couldn't get the flight to Manchester. And we had to wait again to see if we could go to British Airways.
It's been a bit chaotic in that sense, but in general, everything, we were expecting this to happen, so it wasn't much of a shock.
Now, every year in Madagascar, farmers burn and clear the land for the next crop, sometimes even in protected areas where the practice is illegal. Over 93,000 hectares of forest have gone up in smoke since the beginning of the year, according to the Ministry of the Environment. According to NGOs, these figures are over 2 times higher. In recent years, deforestation has worsened in the west of the country as the demand for food companies for maize and groundnuts has increased. Thousands of climate migrants are also fleeing a drought in the south of the country and clearing protected areas to cultivate crops.
To save the environment and national resources in Madagascar, it's necessary to know how to punish people, because until now we have not been able to punish offenders, especially the bigger ones. And to fight corruption, you have to fight it from above, the big players.
A look at sports now. The Kenya women national team Harambee Starlets entered its 3rd day of residential training on Wednesday ahead of the scheduled Olympic qualifier against Ghana. The team holds double sessions every day and it's now all set for the 2-legged qualifier set to be played next month. The final squad of 20 players is set to be named by end of this week, with the first leg slated for October 4th, 2019 at the Accra Sports Stadium in Ghana. Starlets are thus actually scheduled to depart on October 2nd and will jet back on October 5th, 2019. The second leg will be played on October 8th at the Moi International Sports Centre, Kasarani.
So far naweza sema training iko poa. Tumerudisha wenye tulikuwa nao, wenye tulikaa tukienda Malawi. Wazidi kupena hiyo competition. Juu competition ilikuwa iko stiff. Kuna wengine tu walidropiwa juu ya documentation, but so far naweza sema training iko poa.
Kulingana na Ghana ni wazuri, ni watu wako na experience, na sai si tuna prepare sababu tunajua wako aje, na hiyo strong point yao ndo tunawakia, so that tukipatana nao at least pia sisi tutashow tunaye.
All right, Brazilian youngster Gabriel Martinelli scored a brace as Arsenal thrashed Nottingham Forest 5-0 to qualify for the Carabao Cup 4th round on Tuesday. The 18-year-old summer signing made his first competitive start in the 3rd round game at the Emirates. Martinelli opened the scoring with a powerful header before scoring a superb long-range second in injury time. Rob Holding, Joe Willock and Reis Nelson were also on target for the Gunners. Elsewhere, defending champions Manchester City beat Preston North End 3-0.
Goal from Arsenal. Pressure. Heads up, free header, 2-0.
Fiji's Rugby World Cup quarter-final dream is over following a shock 30-27 upset loss at the hands of Uruguay. The monumental win for the Aminos, actually their first ever over Fiji, was easily the biggest day in their short World Cup history. Uruguay, playing the first match of the tournament, held a 24-12 halftime lead in the Pool D clash at Kamaisha Recovery Memorial Stadium. Halfback Santiago Arata, number 8 Manuel Diana and the centre Juan Manuel Hart scored converted tries in the first half, and Felipe Berchesi added a penalty. Uruguay was unable to cross the try line in the second 40, but Berchesi added 2 more penalties. Following the historic upset, Uruguay captain Juan Manuel Gaminara revealed his side's first goal was just to qualify for the World Cup.
There it is in his hands, Nakarawa holding.
Barcelona bounced back from Saturday's shock defeat by Granada with a 2-1 home win against Villarreal to move up to 4th in La Liga table, but the night was marred by Lionel Messi going off injured. Messi, making his first start this season, received lengthy treatment before being replaced at halftime by Ousmane Dembele in what coach Ernesto Valverde said was a precautionary measure. Antoine Griezmann and Arthur got the first half goals at the Nou Camp as Barcelona moved to within a point of a top trio Granada, Athletic Bilbao and Real Madrid. All right, that's all I had for you right here on Breaking Today. My name is Nick Mudimba. Our sign language interpreter has been Tracy Dorcas. I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Enjoy your day.